It is time to hit the rewind once again, ladies and gentlemen. Load up Peacock, load up the WWE Network, or in the future, load up Netflix, because we're going to March the 3rd, 1997, Monday Night Raw. There's a special reason we're doing that, because this show was held in Berlin, in Germany, the first ever international Monday Night Raw ever done. And the Raw had been around for about 4 years at the time. The match we're going to be doing is to crown the first ever European champion, the match between British Bulldog and Owen Hart, a prestigious championship, one that means so much to my guest Hart today, NXSteve, because being from the UK, that title meant something for us before, didn't it? But just before we go into quick details, because we have a timestamp for you where you need to be, it's going to be 1 hour 11 minutes and 16 seconds. You can follow the timer, the blue box with the white writing just underneath my chin, and then you know exactly where we are the whole way through. But we'll be pressing play on the designated time. But NXSteve, with 30 seconds to go, how you feeling about this match?
Dude, Owen Hart match, you can't go wrong. Always pleased to watch one of these. I can't remember if I've ever seen this match, so this is going to be a first for me. So yeah, dude, I'm just looking forward to watching it, man, and seeing the first ever European Championship match.
Absolutely, indeed. Of course, Berlin, Germany, as well, being a special place. Obviously, Bash in Berlin is a premium live event taking place the 24 hours from now at the time of recording. But we're going to do a countdown now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press play. So we're pressing play right now, and you can see the glorious and beautiful European Championship being shown to everybody there as Owen Hart makes his way to the ring. We're going to be trying to give you forms of commentary throughout the match in places here and there. We're also going to be talking about the history of the European Championship, what that title actually means to us. We'll be talking about Owen Hart and Davey Boy Smith as well. Owen Hart being a reigning tag team champion here at this time. And of course, we will be talking as well, of course, a bit about Bash in Berlin as well, as that's pretty much the theme of why we have booked this video. But of course, yeah, I mean, Berlin, Germany, Monday Night Raw, first ever time that they've done this. You can see the crowd is pretty passionate indeed. And of course, the reason this was chosen as a venue for Monday Night Raw is because apparently Bret the Hitman Hart in particular really loved coming to Germany. When they came to do the European tours, WWF at the time was getting pretty hot. They were enjoying doing all the tours they were doing, but Germany was one that stood out, and Bret was the champion at the time. So they deemed it as an appropriate place to do this. And you can see the reigning tag team champions will be the ones that will be going for this European title. Of course, Bulldog and Owen Hart were tag team champions at that time. Of course, this was the year of the Hart Foundation as well. We're in the process of Bret Hart turning from babyface to heel. Of course, Bulldog, I believe, at this moment, and Owen probably on the heel side as well. But David Boy Smith, probably the more popular of the two in this one, being from Europe as well. Owen being from Canada, and this being in from Germany. But yeah, looking forward to this one. This one should be a fun time indeed. But NXSteve, as the two combatants go into the ring, your memories of British Bulldog and Owen Hart?
Dude, man, I mean, I think anyone knows Owen Hart. They know his history. They know just what a character, what wrestler he was. And even like outside the ring, it's been so documented how he was perceived backstage and how he was always kind of a big joker and stuff. And as they bring up this, apparently this was a very fictitious tournament bracket. Apparently it was done all over the European tour, but apparently like no one ever remembers seeing it, because this is the only match that we ever actually see from this tournament apparently. But yeah, same with Bulldog, man. It's just he's an icon, isn't he? I mean, anyone who's my age will remember the Bulldog just because he was kind of like our hero, wasn't he? Really, he was kind of like he's like me, he is. And so yeah, it was always fun to see Bulldog, and like yeah, just to see these two go again, I think it's just gonna be a lot of fun.
Absolutely indeed, yeah. I mean, obviously Bulldog, very nostalgic for myself personally, getting into wrestling. Obviously 1992, Bulldog was going at Wembley Stadium against Bret the Hitman Hart, SummerSlam 92. Owen Hart, of course, high energy in the days when I started, but of course went on to become the King of Hearts here, and as I say, made a great tag team with the British Bulldog. At one point they were combined with Yokozuna, of course managed by Jim Cornette, but no Cornette in sight here at ringside for this one, as these two have locked horns crowds a couple of times already here, and you can tell that this feels like an international show as well. I mean, obviously we're used to the HD qualities of seeing things today, but this one, it looks like it's not in an American venue when you watch Monday Night Raw around that time period, when you're used to seeing the Manhattan Center and perhaps maybe Poughkeepsie, New York, maybe the occasional time away. But this one, quite a big venue here for Berlin, Germany.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, man, that's the good thing about these European shows is they always will draw crowds, and you always will tend to sell them out. And like Berlin, Germany is obviously doesn't let down. And dude, do you know what I mean? I'm looking forward to Bash this weekend just because it's going to be nice to see what the German crowd brings to a WWE Premium Live event.
Yeah, obviously, this is the first proper premium live event we've had for Berlin, Germany, and obviously, I don't think Raw has returned since then. So, obviously, judging that this was such a passionate crowd, obviously, Bret Hart would leave WWF later this year. Of course, the infamous Montreal screw job. I'm not saying that has a link of anything why they've not been to Germany, but you know, if there isn't that person that's plugging backstage of like, oh, we should go back to Germany and do another one in Germany, are you surprised that Germany hasn't had a show like this since then? Because it took me by surprise that this Raw was in Berlin, Germany.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't remember. So just to add to the start of this match here, we can see Brett and Bulldog and Owen going 1-for-1 here, sharing some great back and forth. And dude, love to see it. Some good old fashioned test of strength. Something that I wish someone would bring to wrestling nowadays. It's obviously, I know it's a bit of a timepiece era, but it's just so good to see. But yeah, I mean, I don't remember a lot of Raws in general. I mean, Hart's so good. Just being outside of the US anyway. You know, we'd get the occasional one in the UK. I've attended a couple of them, especially back in like the mid 2000s. But like I said, I'm so very surprised it was never really a thing where they would do like a Raw from, say, for instance, Japan, or do you know what I mean? Like the European tour. It kind of seems like, I know it's more of a thing nowadays, but like it's just almost really weird to not see them do it until now.
Absolutely. Just seeing a double feature there, the replay with a powerbomb from British Bulldog there, and a slingshot Owen going over the top rope with a cartwheel from the British Bulldog afterwards, which I thought was a pretty impressive cartwheel. But what I like here is that they are tag team champions, test of showman sportsmanship here. Bulldog is holding the ropes open. Owen wondering whether to trust the Bulldog at this moment, but I imagine he'll trust him. He does trust him. They're back in the ring. There's no friction yet between these. A clap as well from the Berlin crowd.
The thing I never got is like, you would think that you'd know better than me if there was any German wrestlers in WWE at this point. Like, for the fact that they've gone with a British guy, I suppose is kind of like the closest thing you can get to a homegrown hero. But dude, having tag team champions go against each other is like, there is obviously the camaraderie because they are in a faction together. But like, you've got possibly one of the best in-ring technicians in Owen Hart of like just going in a match. You honestly can't go wrong with it.
Absolutely not. And Bulldog was actually doing pretty well around this time period as well. But unfortunately, as for WWE superstars, WWF back at that time, I can't think of any German superstars. But in WCW, there was Das Wonder Kid, Alex Wright. Who remembers Alex Wright back in the day, especially with the old dancing as well there, which, that's the last you'll see of that from me. But look at that. Owen Hart landing there on wrist behind his back there. We've gone to our first commercial break, so we've come back and Bulldog is working on that left arm and wrist at the moment. Lifting Owen up.
Dude, it's just so good to see this old school style of wrestling. Like, because again, like I said, we don't see it much nowadays. And like, so you get the odd occasional tidbit where someone will throw in something that's old school. But this back body drop with Owen's arm behind his back is just great.
I mean, what I like about this, you mentioned about being a bit of a technical masterclass, but Bulldog's using the power advantage there so far in this match to really sort of take advantage there, but also has a bit of I don't want to say high-flying ability there, but certainly he can be light on his feet there, going for that roll-up that he just went for. He's ducked an Itsuguri attempt from Owen as well. Owen seems to be a little bit on the ropes at the moment. Bulldog clearly in control.
Yeah, it seems to be going for a board stretcher.
Absolutely.
I always thought this looked so painful standing on the back of someone's legs.
Yeah, it does,
I could never understand how they had the physical capability to take this, because like you stand on the back of his legs and his knees, and now he's going to lift him up, and all he's using is his feet to keep you up. That's got to hurt. Oh yeah, you can tell he's broke out of it straight away.
And just the fact that the way that he sort of dives out of it as well, there with knees hitting the ground first, it looks quite painful to me. Well, let's talk about the European Championship as we've hit 10 minutes into the stream as well. We've got a rest holder at this particular moment as well. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Of course, if you're new watching to the video now, we've come in late, follow the timestamp beneath me. It is March the 3rd, 1997. But the European Championship is on the line here as we see now a sort of variation of a monkey flip, Owen Hart going off. And now sending Bulldog over the top rope. I believe we'll get a reverse here, whether Bulldog can trust Owen at the minute with these ropes. But your thoughts on the European Championship? How much did it mean to you growing up?
I mean, I suppose it was always one of those titles like I think at some points they did try to do it right. And especially like for the likes of Owen Hart, who's probably one of the most famous European champions, him and possibly like the likes of D'Lo Brown, for example. But like they always tried to make it feel special, especially when they had people like D'Lo being, whenever he would come to the ring, he would be from somewhere in Europe as the European champion, which I always used to thought was a great little comical tidbit. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I think, like I said, you got Owen Hart. I think he's the most famous one for me. Like, I just remember him at times he'd be walking around with his two slammies in his hand, that European Championship round his waist. But like, I just never felt like it was ever like I was waiting for someone like a Bret Hart or an Austin or someone to win that title, and it was never really given that rub of a main eventer, unfortunately.
Well, it did in the end. Shawn Michaels was the second holder of this championship. Obviously, not going to spoil the first one as we're going through the match currently, but obviously the Knights of Shawn Michaels. I mean, we did have Triple H, of course, he was under Hunter Hearst Helmsley holding it at one point. Early days, Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho as well in their early stints of WWE.
But that's what I'm saying. It was all before they became sort of established main eventers. Like they used it as they were doing the right thing and making it a platform for them. Like this is what I liked about the IC and European titles back in the day, is that stars would use these titles to elevate themselves to that main event stage. But like everyone knows, the IC title is a workhorse title, and like if you want to win that, you have to work for it. And like I don't know, I just almost felt like the European title was never. It always felt like a second tier mid card title. Not that that's a bad thing, but I mean, I think it's just one of the things where it had its place on the card and it did what it done to needed to get certain people elevated.
It was great. Like we mentioned, lots of Kurt Angle, who was quite new into the game when he won that championship. It was a good way of like, here's your first championship, and like before you take on the further responsibility of higher titles, this is for you. And like you say, the European Championship, it was a nice little prop when they used to come for the European tours, especially when they did the shows like Insurrection, Rebellion. You know, it was a title that was good, and obviously it had someone like a William Regal that would hold it as well at some points. You know, so it did have that sort of like feel of where you did enjoy watching it from being a UK perspective. But totally agree, it was sort of like the lower to mid card tier guys that usually would hold it. This match has got quite personal, by the way. We've seen some shoving from the Bulldog after being unhappy about the sharpshooter attempt, but Bulldog's just gone flying into the corner, back first, very heavy, going face first, smash into the mat, kind of like what Bret Hart would usually do. But Owen now clear control of this match.
Yeah, and like it's the good back and forth between these two that I'm expecting to see. That the fact that one of them is going to be on top for a certain point, we're going to get a point where the match is going to flip. Owen's now on top where Bulldog's been on top for so long, and it's just we're getting to probably about the halfway stage in this match now, where they're feeling at the crowd, just waiting to get to that final third of the match where we're finally going to get the victory out of this. But just to go back to that European title, man, I mean, like if you used to compare it to say the United States Championship nowadays, so when obviously there was no brand split and you had the US title and the Intercontinental Championship both on the same show together, you still kind of felt like the IC title was bigger. But nowadays you see people like Bobby Lashley holding that European champion, that United States Championship, and treating it like a bigger deal than like a lot of guys would probably ever treat it. That's what I mean by the comparison for the European titles. Like there was no like main eventers that just carried it, unfortunately.
No, and obviously I think that was the downfall, what led to this championship, because obviously it would be retired, I believe, in 2002. Obviously then WWE had acquired all the companies. You know, it got WCW, had ECW. I think perhaps there was a long prestige of the, you know, the likes of people that held the United States Championship in WCW, obviously like Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, for example. It's, you know, two names that immediately spring to mind.
It had more of a lineage.
yeah, had more of a lineage, I guess, and more of a time history. So I guess that's why that's the title that survived. But had the European Championship, had it survived, as Bulldog now does a sunset flip into there, goes for a pinfall, 2 count attempt. Had the European title survived instead of the United States title was the one that hit the wayside, do you think that title would still be around now? And do you think that it would have had the prestige of someone like a Bobby Lashley holding it and making it mean something more?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I mean, most likely, because it would have essentially, you could have replaced it with the United States Championship and they'd both be in the same spot. But so if we're getting a rewind here on the Monday Night Raw and we're getting some action figures for sale, hang on a minute, this ain't WWE advertisement. Oh no, wait, it's got some wrestling in it. But yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I imagine it would have been treated the exact same way. And like when they brought NXT UK over, I really thought they would have envisioned them rebirthed the European title as like the main title instead of having like the NXT UK Championship, but unfortunately it never happened. But you know, maybe one day if we ever do get an NXT Europe, the European Championship will then be rebirthed into existence.
Little Bash in Berlin prediction. I think we're going to get a shout about NXT Europe to come next year. And I think we will see a resurgence of the European Championship. So this video might be a little bit too far in advance for when maybe the European title does hopefully eventually get brought back. But hey, if you're watching us in the future, welcome.
Maybe we get some acknowledgement about where SummerSlam is going to be held next year.
We'll have to wait and see. We're just in a beautiful belly-to-belly overhead throw there from Owen Hart to the British Bulldog. Now back into the rest hold. We've had a few rest holds in the last couple of minutes, which is one of the reasons why we've not focused as much on the match here. But it looks like Bulldog now is lifting Owen Hart high in the air.
Electric chair drop.
Electric chair drop there. Beautifully done indeed there. This has been a great match between these two. Really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, like it's just like... It's the best way because it's a kind of a case of it's really 50-50 and you don't know who's going to walk away with this one. Owen here trying to cheat as he normally would, trying to put his feet up on the ropes, but luckily enough the Bulldog kicks out.
Absolutely. It looks like we could be getting into that final act now, you know, part 3 of the match now. We've got a nice quick and pace there, neck drop there, neck break I should just say there from Owen Hart. Going to the second turnbuckle now immediately, jumping off, hitting the elbow drop there. It's going to go for the pinfall attempt again. 1, 2, and a kick out from Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog. But no, Owen is going for the rest hold once again. Got to say, big fan of Owen Hart, and obviously did love the Slammy Awards. He's got the Slammies mentioned there on his ring attire, so that was obviously a big deal for him at the time. Yeah, I mean, Hart Foundation, they were awesome.
He was kind of the only one that ever bothered with the Slammies once they did them, and he was the only one that cared about them for the next year.
He was that guy.
There we go. The point of this where the Bulldog looks to be down and out. He's now hulking out. Because this is what it's always. It's always a hulk out.
Pretty
Couple
much.
of elbows to the midsection. Headbutt by Owen. There we go. What's he going to go for? Suplex? Oh, he's getting Bulldog up on the top rope.
Superplex could be on the way.
This used to be a finishing move back in the 90s.
Oh, look at that.
A counted mid-rope suplex.
Counted into a smash there. Very similar to how the British Bulldog, actually it's the same, how British Bulldog lost the Intercontinental Championship back in 1992 on a Saturday night's main event, I believe, not primetime wrestling, against Shawn Michaels. Shawn was the one that landed on top of Bulldog and got the pinfall victory. But Bulldog's just come flying off the ropes there. Great clothesline. They're flying close and they're jumping off there, running into another one. Third clothesline.
I'd like to know if you hit 26 miles an hour there, like Bron Breakker.
Yeah, it was quite an impactful come off the ropes there. Bulldog, they're going for his patented there suplex. Just a normal, regular suplex for this point, not a delayed one. I also found that so impressive growing up. We had the delayed suplexes where you just see the rush of blood go to the head of the opponent.
Yeah, they lose all colour. Oh, I love that sell. The way they just run straight to the turnbuckle with that like face on, it's great. Oh, great. Power slam position, drops Owen Hart right on the top rope. Splits the ropes with him, unfortunately. That's going to hurt.
It's not the only split.
I tell you what, the one at the time of recording this, All In's just happened. The one that happened at All In last weekend was pretty crazy as well. Owen with a German.
Had to be done in Berlin, a German suplex.
Oh, it's ironic.
Not quite Alanis Morissette ironic, but it's certainly ironic indeed.
But here we go again. Owen is going to sell it again.
Oh, lovely. Jumped up, but Bulldog's caught him. Owen now keeping his hands on the ropes. Lovely. Landing to a beautiful one. See, how clever is that for a reversal? Great dive off the mid rope there. Oh, he's counted it. Crazy. Oh, Inzaguri. The flip on that from Bulldog alone, from the size of the guy, is so impressive as well. Is indeed.
Here we go. Owen's setting up for the sharpshooter.
He's going for it.
Dude, man, so wrestlers could learn so many little niche things to take away from 90s wrestling that they could bring in today's thing.
Absolutely indeed. Sharpshooter is on.
Bulldog's going for that bottom rope. Oh, look at the grit and determination. Grit your teeth, Bulldog. He gets there. Breaks up that sharpshooter.
Owen thinks he's won, but he hasn't.
Always great to see this, man. Irish whip countered.
All lands on his feet. What's it going to be? A
oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, I thought he was going to do a two-step pile driver. I've never a fan of pile drivers.
Oh,
big splash. Running power slam.
Oh, he's kicked out.
Two. That's great. For the simplest of wrestling moves, man. It's so good, man. The near falls are great. Oh,
victory roll.
Package. Oh, victory roll, sorry, yeah. He reversed it.
Got it.
Ah!
What a finish. What a finish.
That was great. So entertaining.
Brilliant match. British Bulldog, your first European champion. Didn't want to spoil it, but of course, who else than a Brit to win the European Championship to begin with?
So many unique reverses, especially for Bulldog's size. Not something you'd expect for him to do. But like I said, the one where Owen is, even the one where he's on Owen. Owen is on Brett's shoulder and he's clinging onto those ropes in the corner, and they just fall back into a pinfall, and he just reverses out of it. It's just so good, man.
Fantastic stuff indeed there. What would be your star rating for this match?
Oh, dude, 5 stars, man. I think it's great. Like I said, it's a piece of history, and like I'm probably overrating it. It's obviously not the greatest match in the world, but it's so fun to watch this old school style wrestling. And yeah, I mean, 5's probably over it. I'll be fair and I'll say a 4.
Do you know what I think? Yeah, I mean, 3.75, 4, I think is around that bracket. I'm going to go and meet you there with 4. I think 4's a good way. The handshake offered there from Bulldog there to Owen Hart. Is it going to be a handshake? The tag team champions.
You and me a tag champions. Yeah, remember that.
There we go. There you go. There's the handshake.
There we go.
Of course, they
send the crowd home super happy on a Monday Night Raw.
Absolutely indeed there. And of course, Berlin, great crowd. They were very passionate throughout this match, wasn't they? Hopefully something we can look forward to seeing the same of for Bash in Berlin this Saturday.
Agreed.
Absolutely. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, share with a friend, subscribe as well. NXSteve, thank you for being a part of this video.
Dude, always a pleasure. I'm glad that we've done this, man. Like, I'm sure we mentioned it. We talked about it off screen at some point about doing this match just for the pure fact that Bash in Berlin is going to be in Germany. So yeah, man, it's fun to acknowledge a piece of actual wrestling history because, like you said, it's the first ever Raw that's international. It's the first ever time there's a European champion. So yeah, it's a very special episode on that Raw.
Absolutely indeed, and one we recommend for people to go and check out as well, because obviously it's a full show in Berlin as well, so it gets you properly in the mood for Germany this Saturday. But thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you for the next video. Enjoy Bash in Berlin.